A keyboard shouldn't do this, right? Wait, no. Did I just break my keyboard? Ah! Howdy, hey, I'm Hipyo Tech, and I'm frantically trying to figure out how to fix this. Wait, let me just stick a numpad on there. I think we're gonna be okay. Oh god, stupid. Also, I've built hundreds of keyboards, and this is not a switch I'm used to. And wait, why are you zooming in on my thighs? Please stop, sir. Please, sir. In this video, I'm trying new things, and I'm getting mad doing it. Also known as, I tried gaming keyboards, so you don't have to. Disclaimer, this video is sponsored by ASUS, but all of these words are my own. I'm going to be taking a look at 3 different keyboards, from pretty cheap to very expensive. Well, for a stock keyboard. And in between, we'll discover that I actually don't hate these keyboards, just some of their features. God! Now, I'll explain why I'm mad pretty soon here. We'll get into those features, but first let's start out with the cheapest of the 3 keyboards. Now, when I said the cheapest, yeah, it's not actually that cheap. It's still $130 US, which is nothing to scoff at. Based on my assumptions, I'm assuming that they sent me their finest product line, right? The type of stuff that if you were to send a keyboard to a content creator, you'd really want them to like it, you know? I went into this with honestly very, very, very low expectations, but I actually ended up not as mad as I thought, and I'll show you why in a second. Now, without sounding like a lame product review, this keyboard has a built-in cord, which if you're paying $100 for a keyboard, it should not have a built-in cord. That is absurd. Detachable USB-C cables are the best. Speaking of absurd, do you see something wrong here? Look at the left control. It's as big as the left shift. What's going on there? I don't know about you guys. I generally hit control with my pinky, which is my smallest finger. I don't need a bigger control button. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Is that nitpicking? Am I nitpicking now? Speaking of underwhelming, this backlighting on this $130 keyboard is very dim, and the keycaps are, I don't want to say low quality, but they're kind of bad. Now, I honestly haven't seen a single set of shine-through keycaps that I go, wow, those are high quality. But maybe that's just me. There's just something about the legends having that weird hazy fuzz that doesn't look good, but okay, I get it. The RGB's on. That's pretty nice. Now, I hear what you're saying. Hipyo, what's up with these switches? What's going on there? Those are kind of weird. They're boxes. We're going to talk about those in a second. But first, no, you're zooming in on my thighs again. Why do we go back to the thigh zoom? Oh, we have to talk about this, don't we? This is my biggest gripe ever. Do you see something wrong with these keycaps? Do you see something wrong? It's the four dots, in case you didn't notice. In reality, this is what's wrong with the switches, which are optical switches that we'll talk more about later. But, you're not going to be able to swap the keycaps out on any of these, which is stupid, and I hate it. Look at my closet. Look at how many keycap sets I have that are now completely useless with any of these keyboards. Is this user-friendly? Is this good engineering? I'm sorry, ASUS. This is just dumb. That's so silly. Now, to their credit, they say that this new design reduces stem wobble, and I'll put that to the test in a second. But first, let's look at the stabilizers, where I'm actually very happy, super impressed. Like, I haven't tried enough gaming keyboards to know if this is a new type of stabilizer design or what, but honestly, they sound pretty amazing stock, and here, you heard it for yourself. Speaking of things you heard, you probably heard that the keyboard sounds surprisingly good, right? Like kind of shockingly good, or at the very least, not bad. Well, these are all using optical switches that I mentioned I'll talk about soon. This is good and extremely bad. Speaking of extremely bad, my air conditioning was not on, and my room was 80 degrees. That's warm to me, okay? I live in a cold climate. So if you see any sweat droplets, that's not a natural feature of the keyboard. That is my hands. I have a condition. For real though, it's called hyperhidrosis. Any of the sweaty homies out there, I feel you. Okay, now you might be noticing that I'm unboxing something different. And we just bumped up in price $40. Wait, that's $169. Nice. This next thing we're going to be looking at is the Strix Scope TKL, which is the fancier version. Who knew $40 gave you a detachable cable? Wow. For that $40, you could buy a really fancy coiled one. Okay, I'm giving them a hard time, but there's other features here. Now, something you might have noticed is that this board is plastic with an aluminum plate. So you're paying $170 for a plastic keyboard with an aluminum front plate. However, it is wireless, and you know, the RGB on this one, I think it seems brighter to me, but that could be a placebo. Who knows? I will say that this board does look decently sleek. Like, it doesn't have that overly Omega gamer aesthetic that you get with Razer keyboards that I kind of pick on quite a lot. And speaking of pick on, it's time to look at their RX switches, which are their optical line of switches. In all of these keyboards, I was sent the RX Reds. It's a linear optical switch with a 40-gram actuation and 55-gram bottom out. And they call it a game changer. I'm gonna be honest, changing your engineering to be less consumer friendly and less ecosystem supporting, that is a game change, but it's a bad change. Anyways, but Hipyo, it's because it has better RGB shine through and reduces stem wobble. Yeah, the problems that affect lots of people. Okay, let's put that to the test. How's the stem wobble? Well, it wobbles a bit. I don't know about you guys, but I only find stem wobble to be an issue if you're using really high profile keycaps, which you can't even use with these switches. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the switch wobble. As you notice on the keyboard on the right, if I press a bit on the edges of the keycaps, there's more substantial wobble. I'll give you that. You fixed it a little bit. I'm gonna stop ranting now, but I do not think that is worth making your switches closed ecosystem and not supporting a cherry stem. Speaking of support, I don't like wrist rests because they hurt my wrist. I've sprained them multiple times, but the wrist rest is a nice touch if you're into that type of thing. It's included with the $169 board that we're looking at still. Yeah, we're still looking at that. And I would say that this is honestly it's a nice touch, you know? It's a nice touch. It's soft, it's supportive if you like that type of thing. Personally, I'm not into that. But how does it sound? Now, I'm saving the best keyboard for last, but this board honestly isn't that bad. For being entirely stock, I would say this is a way, way, way better option than those cheaper other gaming keyboards. And you know what? These switches do feel incredibly smooth. I'll give you that. No scratch to my fingers, but give them a cherry stem. One thing that you might like or dislike is the Republic of Gamers branding. That's just what you get when you buy a Republic of Gamers thing. I'm assuming if you buy keyboards like this, then you like that type of thing. Okay, so I've ranted for about 6 minutes now on a sponsored video. This is probably a bad look for me. And we're moving to $100 more expensive. And I'm gonna stab it with scissors. This is the ROG Claymore 2 that comes in at $269. And no, I can't pull that foam off for dampening, sadly. You remember from earlier in the video where there was a keyboard that looked kind of cool? Well, this is the one, and it weirdly comes with 2 individually wrapped parts, and this questionable, oh, it's a cord, okay. USB-C by USB-C, that's good. And a much longer wrist rest that we're gonna look at later because I have issues with it. Now, this board comes in at $269.99, and hopefully I won't have any of the similar issues with it, right? Right? Also, here's a really nice peel for you. Wow, that's so nice. Now that I'm incredibly relaxed, we can take this thing out of its sheath and ooh, it's a very pretty numpad. I'm gonna give them that. It's a very pretty numpad, but how do they attach? I'm not quite sure about that one. Now, at a glance, the Claymore, $100 more than the last board, by the way, doesn't look like it would be worth $100 more. It has a smaller left control. You can see that. It has a nice little menu up in the top left that shows you what appears to be battery life. That's kind of pretty. It's a nice little screen up there. And it has the same aluminum style plate, and the back is also plastic still. Almost $300, by the way. Now, okay, I'm hearing you. You're saying, but wait, Hipyo, oh my god, I just broke the keyboard. Oh no. Oh, wait, no, that's intended. So the feature of this board that makes it apparently worth $300 is the fact that you can pop off the little side bits and replace it with a numpad. Like if you're a pro gamer that also does accounting and wants to use the same keyboard. That's incredibly handy. Cool feature. I've seen it on other keyboards, but cool feature. It's incredibly fluid to remove the numpad and then put it back on and then remove it and then put it back on and then remove it. I could see this being like a fidget toy actually. I'd probably like annoy anybody in the office with me. Now, similar to what my doctor told me on the last visit, we're gonna need to check out the backside. And yep, it's plastic, remember. But it actually fits on the keyboard very sturdily, and you can put it on the left side or the right side, which is quite nice. This keyboard is wireless and has a 2.4 gigahertz dongle and connected super smoothly. And the numpad just starts working the moment you plug. Oh, it's the same switches. It's the same switches. So there is basically no customization options with this thing. If you buy it, you can't change the keycaps, you can't change the switches. You can remove the numpad and put it back on, but then when you do, you realize that, wait, okay, it's a fixed size wrist rest. That's a little bit of an oversight there. I'm just gonna hit my wrist into it with my mouse hand. I don't like that. But surely I have many nice things to say. Well, okay, I wish the numpad just worked wirelessly like this, like if it was just a wireless numpad. But I get why someone might want it attached to their keyboard like this. That's a good enough feature. Like, I'm not gonna nitpick the basic functionality of any of these keyboards. Like, if you just wanted a keyboard that worked and you bought this, that wouldn't be bad. But I'm an enthusiast keyboard channel, remember? I make videos on lots of keyboards. You remember the closet, right? I should mention that a lot of Asus boards come with NX versions, and those are actually cheaper than the RX versions in a lot of cases. Now, NX is their Cherry MX clone, and I can't test that or tell you if it's good because I don't have any of them. But what I can say is that they almost hit the mark here. Like, if this shipped with these optical switches that were as smooth as they are, and just supported customization like hot swap and keycap swapping, then I would not be anywhere near as frustrated. Like, they're clearly very proud of these switches, but if I put them next to a well-lubed linear switch, the linear switch would win.